All right, in this video I want to talk about a prophecy being fulfilled of where Jesus said the love of many will grow cold. I recently saw this short video, it was like 2 minutes, talking about some guy throwing away his life. And they said it was Rampage Jackson's son. And I was like, oh, I remember Rampage Jackson. He was a UFC fighter. And I used to watch some of his fights. So I was like, what is it? What do you mean his son threw away his life? And apparently there was this wrestling event going on. And from what I understand, the wrestlers were in this area. And he was over there. And one of the wrestlers thought he was one of the fellow wrestlers. And like broke a can of beer on him, right? And then when he realized he wasn't one of the wrestlers, he was apologizing to him, saying he was sorry, and they shook hands, and it seemed like everything was fine, right? But then he was, I guess, in the front row during this wrestling event, and his own dad was messing with him, calling him a punk for some men in tights were messed him up, and he didn't do anything about it, that he's just like a wuss, and implying that he's gay and stuff. And then I guess he had a chat going on, a live chat, and a bunch of people were telling him that he was a punk and all this stuff, and it got to him, and they goaded him into doing something about it. So he ended up jumping in that ring and knocked the guy out. And when the guy was knocked out, he still kept hitting him and let all his rage out on this guy when they already made amends. Everything was done. They shook hands, and he went in there and just did that to him, right? And who knows what's going to happen to him now? The guy that he messed up, they showed him in the hospital. I don't know if he was like in a coma or something, but he was really messed up. And they're saying, yeah, he threw his life away, and there's people laughing about it and making jokes about it and being like, wow, he threw his life away because a bunch of 12-year-olds were calling him a punk and stuff, you know, using other words. I'm just using punk to be PG here. And goaded him into doing that, and he had 700 viewers, and he's like, he did all this for 700 viewers and everything. And I was just like thinking about that. And I was like, no one cares, man. No one cares about you. And that's what you need to realize, is that the only person who cares about you is God. And this is why you can't care what anybody thinks about you and what they say about you. Right? If they say you're weak, or if they say you're strong, they're saying something bad about you, they're saying something good about you, you got to ignore both of it. Because people will use both to get you to do something stupid. Like these people were saying negative things about him to goad him into doing something stupid. But the same thing happens with other people where they'll tell him, oh, you're so good and athletic and strong, you could go take on Mike Tyson, right? And they get you to get in a boxing match to take on Mike Tyson, and you get demolished, right? They goaded you into doing something stupid, right? And that's why you got to let it go. You can't care what other people think, whether it's good or bad, right? Whether they're puffing you up or putting you down, you just got to let it go and not care, right? You got to realize that these people don't care about you. They're seeing if they can get in your head. They're seeing if they can control you because they want to use you for their entertainment. They all got him to do that, and they're all laughing. And yeah, that was so funny. This guy's an idiot. Da, da, da. And his life is now ruined. He's probably going to get sued. He's going to go to jail. And you don't know if they want to put it to attempted murder. It'd be worse if the guy, God forbid it happens, but if he passes on or something because of injuries, well, he's definitely going to jail, right? For a long time. And all for some people's entertainment. And the people who goaded him into it, they don't care. They blame him. Ultimately, yes, it is on him. He shouldn't have let them get to him and to get him to do that. But they don't care. That's what I'm saying is the love of many grows cold, where people will talk you into doing something stupid, and then when you go do it and you mess up, they'll just be like, yeah, well, you're an idiot, whatever, walk off, and they don't care. They'll be like, whatever. Thank you for entertaining me for 5 minutes. Now I got to go find some other bonehead to go do that for me. And they act like demons. Because that's pretty much what demons do. In the spiritual realm, there's demons that will either try to put you down or boost you up to get you to do something. Right? Oh, telling you that everybody thinks you're a punk. To get you to motivated to go out and prove to everybody that you're not a punk. But it's all in your head. No one even cares. No one's even thinking about you. Right? Or vice versa. Like, you're the best. Right? And you gotta just prove you're the best to everybody. Right? To get you go do something. When, again, no one cares. Right? And these people are acting just like these demons in the spiritual realm, and how they entice you to do sin, and then when you sin, they're just like, well, they're weak. They weak and they gave in. It's on them. I didn't make them do it. They don't care. They don't care about you. But if somebody did that to your brother, to your sister, to your son or your daughter, would you care then? You just don't care because it's somebody else that you're not connected to in any way, shape, or form. So it doesn't matter. It's like when I talk to these people who, their mindset is so twisted, where they will treat people like trash and walk all over them and use them and abuse them. And then when you're like, what are you doing? And they're like, yeah, they don't stand up for themselves. They let me do it. And it's like, so? What kind of a sicko wants to do that to somebody else just because they let them do it? Well, they should learn not to be a doormat. You should not treat people like doormats, even if they let you do it. They don't see that they are part of the problem. Right? Like, I don't want to put people down or puff them up to go get them to do something like that and ruin their life. That would make me feel bad if I push somebody to go do something stupid like that. And they actually did it. I would feel bad about it. Right? And if somebody allowed me to walk all over them with my words or physically and just the way I treat them, I wouldn't want to do that because I would feel like a piece of shit for doing that. And these people don't care that they'll do whatever they want to them because they're like, well, they don't say anything. They don't do anything about it. And it's like, so? They're like borderline psychopaths. They have no empathy or compassion for anybody else. They're just like animals. All they understand is might, right? Right? If you don't fight back, oh, it's because you're weak and I'm a dominant alpha. Oh, and if you're not fighting back, yeah, you're weak and I'm the top dog here. They have no morality. They don't care about right or wrong or truth. They're degenerates. They're reprobates. And the love of many is just growing colder and colder because more and more people are acting like this. Where people, they would generally act like this online. Like they would let out their degenerate side online. But now it's becoming more and more open. Where they're doing it in front of everybody. To friends, to family. You see spouses doing this kind of thing to one another, goading one another into stupid stuff, goading their own children, goading their parents and their brothers and sisters. It's just to do something for their own amusement and entertainment. It's turning into a hell on earth. I know in this aspect I'm exaggerating a little bit because it's not as if you're seeing it constantly all over the place. But you are seeing it more and more, along with everything else going on. Right? And I just imagine how much worse it would get if there was a shortage on something like water and food and electricity, gas, resources. If that was an issue here in America where, it wasn't easy to get everything. Because right now, people are acting like that when they have everything they need, right? Things may be a little bit expensive, might be tough right now, but you're still getting everything you need for the most part, right? But what if that stopped happening for one reason or another? Then, the people are going to start acting a lot worse. The true animal is going to come out where right and wrong, truth goes out the window, and it's just me or them, and I choose me. And you'll climb over everybody else just to try to save your skin. And it's just sad seeing that. Again, I think what he did was boneheaded. He should not have cared what the people are saying. He should have just went with it. He's like, yeah, I'm such a punk. Man. And just let it go. Who cares? Right? But I imagine what really got to him was his dad. He probably wants his dad's approval, and his dad said some stuff to him, and that was probably getting to him, and then everybody else jumped on him. Right? And he listened to it. Right, if his dad didn't say anything, he probably wouldn't have cared. But since his dad was saying basically the same thing everybody else was telling him, it probably hit him pretty hard. And he's like, I'm not a punk, Dad. He wanted to go prove himself to his dad. And then he went and did that. Right? And now look at it. Right? I wonder if his dad feels like a bonehead. Like, man, I shouldn't have pushed my son like that. Or is he like, oh, my son's a weak punk. Well, that's what happens. Can't control his emotions. Let everybody get under his skin. When he was part of the whole issue. He's probably the main reason why everybody was able to get into his head was because of him in the first place. Because if he had that solid backup where his dad was like, hey, that's just wrestling. It's just part of the skit, man. Don't worry about it. All right? Use it for motivation for your next fight. Right? Or something like that. And then when everybody was goading him, he probably wouldn't have cared. Because he had his dad's approval. Right? But it's just... Yeah. I understand where people are like... He has to learn to, control his emotions and not let them get under his skin. It's like, yes, I agree. But at the same time, when you know someone is in a position like that, why keep railing into him? Why keep pushing him? Why keep goading him? Like, what's wrong with you to keep pushing somebody? And then blame them if they finally give in. Right? I mean, it's the same thing if somebody did something to you. If they just kept pushing you and nudging you and poking you and teasing you, you're eventually going to at least lash out and say something. If not smacking them, right? You're going to eventually do something. Whether even if it's just, like I said, you just yell at them. Right? So why do that to somebody else? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, these people who goad others is that they're just empty and hurt and lost. And it makes them feel better, like they can manipulate somebody and get them to do something stupid where it makes them feel smart. Makes them feel like they're not as bad as somebody else. At least I'm not that person. That person's a bonehead. I wouldn't have done that. Oh yeah, well, if your family and friends started pressuring you and goading you into something, you would give in eventually. You would. Unless you really clung tight to Jesus, which is the main point of this video, is the only one who truly cares about you is God. both a very sad thing when looking at the world and people you care about, but it's also a very blessed thing that the one who's in control cares, and that's all that really matters. So that's something to think about. But I just wanted to make this video. I thought it was going to be a quick video, but I started talking a little bit longer than I thought. But, you know, it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts, because I'm seeing stuff like this all the time. Right? There's always this rage baiting. And then if you get mad because somebody rage baited you, you're the problem. And it's like, you're the prick. You're just sitting there irritating me until I got mad. And I lost this game you're playing? No, you're a douche. Like, what's wrong with you? You wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. But here you are doing it to someone else. Like, why? I made you get mad. Well, good for you. You went and you became a prick to get me all upset. I hope you're happy with whatever prize you just won. Because now we're not going to talk or hang out. Because I'm not going to go through that nonsense again. I would rather be at peace than deal with that. It's like, what's wrong with you? I mean, I see this kind of stuff all over the place. It's weird. It's very weird. But it's just a spiritual age that we're in. Love is kind of drying up there, isn't it? And what they think is love is not even really love. The love that everybody is touting as love is actually basically enabling wrong thoughts and words and deeds. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and think you're better than everybody else, because you are. You're just my little ray of sunshine, right? And you spoil your kids so that they feel entitled and walk over everybody else, so it ends up causing headbutting with the other children at school or whatever. And that's what you call love for your child. And then there's enabling them to say and do whatever they want to do, and with having no punishments whatsoever and everything. And it's like, what are you teaching him? That's not love. You're teaching them to be reckless and not care, and it gets them to the point where they can't really truly have joy. They can't truly be happy because they're just upset because they're so used to getting whatever they want that when they get what they want, it's normal to them. They don't have that excitement to it, where if you don't always get what you want, you start to get used to that. And then when you actually do get what you want, it's like, all right, this is awesome. And like, and it helps you keep going. But when you get it all the time, it's kind of like whatever, right? It's like if you won the lottery today, you'd be like, woo! But if you won it every day for a year, you'd be like, whatever. You wouldn't be happy about winning it because you've already kept winning it and you have all the money you would ever need ever. It's just like, okay, yeah, whatever, I won again. It wouldn't bring you any kind of happiness or joy or anything like that. But that's what people think is love these days. Love is just protecting you from ever experiencing anything negative or painful in any way, shape, or form. It's just weird. But I'll stop rambling here, because I know no one cares. Right? I know with my videos, the majority of people, family and friends and strangers alike, don't care, and I know that. But my life isn't revolved around what other people think about me or say about me or what I think they think and say about me, right? I'm going to be me and do me, whether I'm supported or not, or fought against or not. right? And that's how we all ought to be, right? And it's just a shame how things are. I feel bad for that guy. You know, I think he's a bonehead, but I feel bad how he got goaded into that. Because, I mean, his dad was a UFC fighter. So you know, he was training to be the same thing there. That's his mindset, right? He has to be a tough guy like his dad, right? And he wants to prove himself. And everybody goaded him into and took advantage of that mindset that he has into doing something stupid. And no one cares. Be like, it's his own fault. And it's sad how people see that. Like, they put 100% of it on him. It's messed up. But anyway, we can cross this out here real quick. We'll wrap it up with this. And a lot of you probably think this is all soft. And you're a wussy, you're a punk. Whatever. Right? You're all talk. Everybody else is just talk. Talk, 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 talk. Right? But I know Jesus cares, and he cares about you, even though you're a punk. And yeah, that's that. This is not a regular preaching video, so I'm not going to do my spiel at the end here. Just thank you for your time and attention. Just kind of vented about that stuff. That's how the world is. Well, you got to just be like, well, if you care, follow through with what you care about and know that God cares about you. And that's all that matters, right? Don't revolve yourself and your self-image around what you think other people think or what other people are saying. Because then you're just a slave to them. You're a slave to their opinions. And once they realize they can manipulate you, they'll keep moving the goalpost. So you'll never please them because they know that you're going to just keep pushing harder and harder to prove yourself to them. And they'll just keep doing that. Because they don't care. They don't want you at peace and be like, you're good just as you are. Right? You don't need to sit here and prove yourself. I love you just for you being you. You know, you don't got to do anything special. All right? They're not going to be like that. Jesus will. Jesus is like that. He's like, I love you the way you are. I made you the way you are. I'll work on, the whole sin issue thing, but you don't have to sit there and prove yourself to me. Right? And that it gives you a peace right there, a joy. And then you don't sit there and worry about what other people are saying or not saying. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one, and may God bless you and yours.